Good afternoon, welcome to Show Studio. Today we're going to be looking at Autumn Winter 2015 Moschino, and we have a fantastic panel here. Richard, if you'd like to do the intros.
Yeah, I'm Richard Mortimer, I'm the editor of Pony Step magazine.
I'm Anna Trevelyan, I'm a stylist and the fashion director of Moschino A boutique.
Hello, I'm Dal Chodha, I'm a fashion writer.
I'm Carri Munden, I'm a designer, stylist and creative director.
I'm Daryoush Haj-Najafi and I work for Complex in the UK. So the show's about to begin, so probably it will make most sense to pretty much react to the show as it happens, because this is actually truly live stream. Where is the show, do we know?
Somewhere in South London.
Oh, how on trend.
In a winter wonderland.
Far away
Yeah.
and
Recreated.
We're panning
starting
in.
on
It's
time.
gone quiet, it looks,
The lights
ready.
have changed.
I wasn't expecting to see Christmas trees this soon.
I know.
Christmas.
The only ones I've seen have been thrown out onto the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna, this is reminding me of one time we were sat at a show and you were like, the lights had gone down and you were like, I've got a feeling I feel like something's going to happen. And we were sat waiting and it was all tense because the lights had just come down and everybody's like, shh. And I think I replied, fashion's going to happen.
I don't remember. Fashion is definitely going to happen now.
I can feel it.
It's quite exciting.
It is.
It looks like an ice rink.
Yeah,
The
it does.
future is before your eyes, is one of
Oh,
my
it's
favourite
actually
ladies.
snowing
Oh,
as
it's
well.
snowing.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's quite a big statement for Moschino to do a big production like this in the middle of London men's collections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
you're right.
No one's really done things scale, have they?
No.
No.
Well, it's only really... Oh, nice.
Are they wearing moon boots?
Yay! I think these topless guys are a bit cold in the snow. Hard nipples.
Oh my gosh, cute.
That's smart, dude.
I'm actually going to the mountains next week, so I'm going to get some ski wear inspiration today.
Well, I think people forget Italy is like, you know, it's a big skiing culture. I mean, they love like Montclair, don't they? And,
Yeah.
you know, the technical outdoor gear.
Do we think that's fake or real fur? Me and Carrie were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
I hope it's real.
Because we were saying Jeremy's a vegan and Anna's a vegetarian, and my boyfriend's vegan, but he also works for Moschino, and we were saying that you said that all the stuff you shot for Jeremy in the past has always been fake, so
All the fur is fake, yeah.
But I wonder with Moschino, because it is that kind of brand, I feel like they might use fur.
Real fur.
I don't know, I wonder if that's...
But they've
he's
not
gonna-
done
whether
fur
he's-
traditionally, have they?
No?
I don't know, I'm asking.
That is so cute. Oh my god.
Looks pretty real.
Yeah.
That looks
Yeah.
real.
Well, it's so difficult to tell as well, though, these days. So
Synthetic
maybe,
fur.
yeah, exactly.
so
Maybe
great,
all those beaver tails are fake.
Is this music the music that's actually happening at the show? Yeah.
The snow is amazing.
And isn't that the invite, the crown?
Yeah.
Don't everyone get sent a crown?
Yeah.
Bobby Ashley did crowns, didn't he, a couple of seasons ago?
Yeah.
Bobby Abley.
Happily.
Oh,
That is so cute.
I love furry shorts.
I think that's quite sexy.
I think Jeremy's all about sexy though, right?
Yeah. But not all of these outfits I would find sexy, a man wearing them.
Do you like a
this
man in
one, maybe
furry
not so
boots? What do you think about men in Uggs?
No.
Mark Owen. Mark
But
Owen
furry
as well.
Moschino boots would be fine with me.
Yes, I agree.
It depends on the man, doesn't it? How tall he is as well. That would help.
Yeah.
It's sort of quite good on a kind of sort of Essexy rugby player.
Yeah.
But an Essexy rugby player is never going to wear this.
They might.
So,
He has a
no,
lot
but
of-
you do see the odd one in Uggs because his girlfriend bought him them.
Yeah, no, you see a lot in Uggs. Yeah.
And you know when Jeremy used to make those crazy teddy bear trainers, like
Yeah.
so many guys love them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
I think absolutely. But I was going to say that as an example. I mean, where I live in Hackney, I noticed there were a lot of like older African guys that wear all Jeremy stuff, kind of like 40-something African gangsters, and they wear like all the really, really crazy Jeremy Scott
shoes,
stuff.
yeah.
It's nice to see some more sort of basic commercial pieces mixed in with like the crazy stuff.
Yeah, it feels quite sober, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
This one is not as like eccentric as the past few have been, maybe.
Do you think that's a reaction to the last show?
It looks a bit
Possibly.
less sort of poppy, doesn't it? A bit less
Yeah.
Jeremy Scott even, and a bit
Yeah.
more something else.
But I love all the pop from Jeremy Scott.
I guess it takes time for designers to get into the swing of things, and also to find out what his bosses want from him or
Yeah.
need.
You
So
see, I
maybe
think
it's
that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Although obviously, yeah, his pop was the genius of putting him at Moschino,
Yeah.
wasn't it? That's because of the pop.
That's hot. That's cute.
I think the biggest difference for me with this collection compared to the last one is it looks really expensive.
It does
And
look
like,
super expensive.
I think the last collection, some pieces could look a little bit cheap, and I think this feels very much luxury.
Do you think that's because of all the fur? though?
Yeah, maybe, and I just think like the shapes and
Yeah,
stuff.
even this,
That
that's
is-
amazing.
Yeah.
That is so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Like
Yeah, I like
you
it
look
with
at the blue
florals.
jacket, it looks
Yeah, it does,
expensive.
yeah.
Like,
The fabrics and
yeah.
Oh my gosh, what is that?
Well, I like the futuristic. Futuristic
I love
florals.
that. Look at the gloves. Oh my gosh.
Where are you going skiing? I think we should all do a live stream of you going down.
I'm not actually going to go skiing. I'm just going to be in the mountains. But maybe I'll try. If Jeremy lends me an outfit, I'll do a skiing.
Do you think it would be snowboarding or skiing he would do? I think he'd do snowboarding.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, snowboarding.
Poppies.
I love these colours, good
Yeah, me too.
colour combinations.
I think it works on a lot of levels. This collection, I think you can see it doing commercially quite well.
It looks really tight as well, like quite cohesive.
And I think editorially,
Yeah.
it's going to go crazy. This one.
That fur will get shot so much.
Yay, I love duffel coats. I love them.
That's cool.
I like the proportion of that duffel coat too.
That is so... it's just confusing to me because it's actually quite gay, but I find it also really sexy.
Well, it's quite warrior the way that it's
Yeah.
been styled.
Flintstones.
Quite, yeah.
That was a great collection, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Flintstone.
But you see, for me, this feels far stronger than that. The Jeremy Scott Flintstone collection.
Yeah,
It's just a bit more chic.
Yeah, a
It's
bit more
I think
refined. It's not
Yeah.
Probably
something
more money
cartoon.
behind it as
Yeah.
well.
Of course.
But there's more design going on, isn't there?
Because not everybody who buys this is going to want to make that crack a joke, essentially. I mean, I love the joke of the Flintstones thing, but this is for people who aren't always going to be laughing at the
Having a
world.
laugh. Yeah.
But who is it for though? Because that's kind of quite the thing. Who buys Who's going into the Moschino store?
Well, you know, this reminds me a little bit of some of the stuff Kim does for Louis Vuitton, in that there's some very young, sporty pieces in ultra luxe. And that stuff does really well, like the mountain boot, the $1,000 mountain boots, you know, they were a hit. So,
do you think since Jeremy's started a machine, there's a different audience? Do you think they're targeting a different audience, or it's like?
I think it's too soon to say. I
Yeah.
think Jeremy's still very much finding his feet, and I think that this is definitely the way to go. I think it's really strong. And I think the whole show looks amazing. The set, the whole thing is just great.
I think Moschino always has its audience got such a big culture around it, and then Jeremy will just add to that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely perfect for this role. There's a real synergy with his design.
I think his casting's always amazing as well.
Yeah. he
Like
does
the
really good
casting's
casting.
always really strong.
I love his women as well, because he chooses girls that really have like a lot of personality,
Yeah.
and they make it fun, you know? I would definitely wear that. That's so good.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Are you mentally shopping
Yeah.
next season?
Do you think the audience are getting snowed on too?
I know, I hope not.
It's quite,
I hope so.
quite impressive that if they're not. Oh, there's someone brushing themselves up there. That answers my question. Oh, you made it freeze.
Well, that was the last look, wasn't it?
I'm really pleased that Jeremy's chosen to show this in London. I think it really makes a big statement about how serious the men's collections are being taken here.
well, it's also, I mean, it's great for London. It's savvy for them though as well, tension-wise.
Of course.
But it is great for London, really, to have that, you know, a show that people have to go and see if they're of a certain level.
I think LCM is really exciting. There's like so many shows that I want to go and see, and so much going on, and it feels really, really creative, and loads of new designers, and everyone's making really cool collections. And it's definitely my favourite of all the fashion weeks.
It's happened so fast as well. I can't believe, like, oh.
Because when you started out, Carrie, it would have been perfect
Yeah.
for when you were, you know.
Yeah, it was, I mean, because a lot of the stores that I worked with were more like multi-brand, so I didn't really always have that problem with sales, but I know it was a big problem for a lot of like young menswear designers because you're struggling, you're on the wrong schedule.
What, when they're showing at women's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you really want to get like the menswear buyers, there's
Yeah,
always, like, this,
you're tapped on
like,
the end,
yeah.
Yeah.
with the timing.
Mm.
But mood-wise, this also looks kind of like it suits kind of London, doesn't it? It suits the energy that people always talk about, people celebrate the city for, and the fashion offering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's playful in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, but it does feel very like Italian ski holiday / London.
Mm.
I think what I found this week with a lot of shows is that some shows feel a little bit lost in terms of direction. I think some shows you go to and you're like, oh my god, that's going to be everywhere editorially. It's everyone's just going to want to shoot it, and you're going to see it everywhere next season. Then other shows you go to and you're like, they're going for the commercial market. It's going to sell really well. They're going to clean up. But then there've been a few shows I've felt where it's kind of not one or the other. And yeah, you know, they're nice enough collections, but I don't know what they're saying. And I think what's really exciting about this is that it's really visual and really graphically strong, and the product looks really good. And you know, I think what's interesting about this is it's going to do really well editorially, and I think it will sell really well.
Yeah, maybe with past Moschino collections, it's been like a series of like statement pieces, and this feels like there's a lot more in there that's very.
Well, I think like Anna said, it feels really cohesive and tight.
Yeah, it does. Like the last men's collection, there's quite a lot of different things going on throughout, but this one, you really, really get the story. It's really, really tight. There's like really key pieces.
I think what's important as well about this is it feels definitely less gimmicky than we saw last season. You know, it wasn't about just taking one theme and running with it. It feels like actually this is about the clothes, and this is about Jeremy saying actually I can make a really strong collection with really nice clothes.
But I wonder if that was like a intentional strategy, because I mean they got so much exposure and press from that collection, those collections, and they've got like got everyone's attention now, and then he can like prove himself.
I mean, a lot of people under 25 who weren't aware of its links to subculture, I don't think knew it existed. So
Moschino.
yeah. So I think there needed to be that, you know, everybody knew, like, you know, way more people of that demographic know who Jeremy Scott is than know Moschino until until the last year of social media exposure.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like we're all from the UK, but I feel like UK's already, like street culture and culturally has had a connection to the brand because of like UK garage and club culture and stuff like that. So I think young people did, but I think maybe in New York they might not have, or in Asia or something. I don't know how aware they would have been of Machine.
Because kids here like still always want to have that Moschino belt and the Moschino print all over the jeans.
Yeah, that's.
I think they always
been
sell.
consistent.
But that's people who get street like a specific part of street culture. I think if you're, you know, a Vogue reader, a standard Vogue reading 20-year-old, I don't think they did know. I mean, maybe
I don't think there's any
I
difference.
can be wrong.
I don't think there's any difference anymore. There is that. I don't think people are buying into it anymore because of this subculture. I think people are just buying it because it's cool, or people are buying it. And the subculture bit is gone. Like there is no one cares about any of those
come on,
or needs to know about.
The brand was dead. Like till Jeremy Scott got
That's a bold statement.
till Jeremy
Daryoush.
Scott got there, the brand was dead.
Yeah, but if you look
anything.
on Tumblr, there were so many people reblogging the 90s collections, and I guess the problem was that the brand wasn't selling them anymore. Yeah. So that was where the connection was missing, but there was still a real fandom, I think, for
I'm sure in and in Europe, I'm sure they have like a very different fan base and like audience, and it's really important to keep that. I'm sure.
It is funny how it's so linked to UK garage 90s subculture. So to me, it's like really, really prevalent because all my teenage years, I could just see Moschino everywhere, and that's the brand that everyone wants to wear. But it was such a specific thing at that time. I don't know what. Yeah,
well, it's really funny because a friend of mine was selling some vintage Moschino stuff on eBay the other day, and this guy from Chase and Status sent like a Mercedes round with an envelope full of cash. He was like, "I'll take it all."
Wow.
It was just like funny.
Yeah, because he's the right generation to like connected with it.
But I wasn't aware of that sort of connection.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about that music scene, but this is the first I've heard that it's...
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like double print. Like, and actually that was a big influence on my own design, and I was looking at like that kind of double print and the jeans and stuff like that. Like jean top.
But I didn't know it was so much a part of that scene.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It was.
But what I think almost, in a way, as partly because the graphics appealed, but also because it was an ownership thing to some extent. I mean, you didn't see that the label was in that context.
It was just like a subversion. It was like definitely like a. Is that what you mean? Like a.
Well, like also that, you know, like Armani wasn't owned by that demographic in the same. Like Stone Island's another one. It's owned by a certain type of person.
Like casual culture. Yeah. That's not. Yeah.
Then so if you wear it, you're not just saying I'm aspiring. You're saying I'm a bad boy. I'm a bad
Are you a
man.
bad boy? Are you a bad man?
I went to a really rough pub in Leeds at Christmas, and I saw a guy in Stone Island jeans, and I just thought, I'll go get a bit
Stay away.
I've got to get a bit of Stone Island on my...
The opposite.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think that's, I wonder, yeah, I think that's what's interesting about the brand is that it connects with different people on different levels and there are different audiences.
But I wonder what Jeremy's like crew is. Like who's going to have that connection and what's the visual connection is going to be, because to me it's like the Moschino printed jeans and the belt and the peace sign, like what is the new thing that's
I mean,
gonna connect.
I think what's quite clever about Jeremy taking it over is I think those diehard fans of Moschino that have been obsessed with the archive and all of that stuff, I think they're going to buy into this because I think it's going to reinvigorate the brand. But I think what Jeremy will bring to the table is his mass following, and more importantly, the celebrity aspect, because he's going to have it on everybody.
Well, his Adidas stuff was bought by exactly the same people on a global scale as were buying Moschino in London. So it makes sense that he's doing that. And I think what Carri was just saying about is this now the sort of second stage of that strategy? So maybe in a way that subcultural audience, like you're saying, they're into it, that he's got them, they were always going to be into it. He's kind of come along and made the brand famous again, and now this is like actually a bit more like a looks thing. So that audience wanting to buy things for the looks will be into it, and then also, the kind of maybe the more kind of traditional fashion person might get into it as well.
And I think what's interesting is he has kept those classic details. So he's kept the belts and he's kept the bags, and so people can still buy into that classic sort of vintage look if they want to.
Yeah.
I'm less familiar with obviously when I think of Moschino men's, I think about all the prints and stuff, but then when I think of Moschino women's, I think of it as being quite like...
It's quite pretty.
Yeah, very pretty.
Very
and prim
frilly,
and like,
kind of
yeah.
Chanel,
Yeah,
sort of...
almost, yeah.
That was the direct, the bag, that kind of quilted bag, and all of that stuff was kind of almost taking the piss out of all of that stuff. So yeah, it was very girly and very femme, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't know what it is now, as in, well, I do, but it's completely different to that. So you're right. So there was probably a whole bunch of, I don't know, maybe young, rich, or wealthy girls that were kind of buying really pretty blouses and literally, and kind of missing out on the irony of all of that stuff. And then Jeremy's come and kind of, I guess, always got rid of all of that.
Still uses those shapes a little bit.
Yeah. Like the Barbie collection, there's elements. It's just kind of he's taken it up another notch in the.
But I love all the
irony
shapes
scale.
and like the big gowns and everything. Like from last season, it was amazing.
I want the juicy fruit as my wedding dress.
Oh,
but the new pretty is kind of like here, isn't it? Like these two, like the new. If you're looking for that pretty girl, that these two kind of represent like that new pretty. Like
you're making me blush.
And now I'm making you blush, but it's true. Like so, the pretty now isn't sort of a princess. It's a.
But if you went to the middle of like England, would people think you're pretty?
No.
Exactly.
One man, I went somewhere the other day, and a man goes to me, "Why would you want to look like that?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I quite like it." Actually.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we're in this bubble, and that's lovely, but it's not really true.
Come on! Look at how many pink hair and purple hairs there are out there.
Yeah, these guys are the wonderful extreme of it, but it's always going to be like diluted, isn't it? To be.
But nobody wants to look like Kate Middleton anymore. I mean,
loads
they
of people
do,
want to look like
but
Kate Middleton.
It's not. There's not a lot of money in selling that as a look.
Anna, how do Parisians react to your look?
Not very well.
Exactly. We're so lucky in London that people are so open-minded.
We need to get a spy camera on Anna.
But what about Italy? Because I've always found, although Italy is quite conservative on a lot of levels, but they really appreciate like creativity, and they've always I've had Italian women be like, "Oh, could never dress like that, but you look amazing." Yeah. I mean, they embrace it.
Yeah.
And for me, like Italian is more about glamour and fun, whereas Parisian is more about chic and elegance.
It's not fun.
It can be fun as well, but to me that's like two very, very different things. And like Italian fashion can be more loud and kind of more vulgar a lot of the time, which is why I quite love it.
Southern Italian. Almost.
My best friends were Italian when I was growing up when I was teenagers, and you'd see their holiday photos, and it's her mum, her and her grandma all in a thong with all their jewellery and makeup on the beach, and I imagine that kind of Italian one. I like
Yeah,
that.
I like that too.
Yeah, Armani's Christmas Speedo shots. Did you see those?
But do you think it's important then, given the fact that this is an Italian brand, that they've decided to show in London?
I think that's a big statement for them to do that, I think. Yeah.
I mean, the thing with Italy is, I know less and less is actually made there, but because of the connection to making it there, you can still be really Italian and, you know, and spread that brand around a bit, can't you? And
yeah, I don't know whether the internet sort of got rid of all of that stuff of all they're showing here, they're showing that. Of course, politically, people might, the fashion weeks in relative cities might, you know, get a bit nose disjointed or their noses out of joint. But generally, I think most of us just kind of think, well, we're going to have to see it anyway on some circuit. So wherever it is, we're going to see it. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't really matter necessarily, I think, especially with a brand like this that is so kind of connected to its fans and its audience. I don't think they really care where it's shown.
Yeah, and I agree, it's more of an industry.
Yeah, it's just the industry that might kind of say, ooh, you know, an Italian brand. But, you know, already they've got, you know, an American designer designing it. So if Italy was going as a fashion kind of group, if they were going to have an issue, they would have already had an issue with that. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of already one step away. So you kind of just think,
well, and also being post-national is kind of a big thing now anyway, isn't it? I mean, Louis Vuitton isn't, you know, it doesn't particularly market itself as French.
It's a global brand.
Yeah. So Kenzo doesn't. I mean, well, Kenzo never did, but
yeah, for sure. And also that, I think it's probably more of a technical thing. Is that probably it's easier to get the friends of Jeremy Scott that are, you know, a lot of them are very famous. It's probably easier to kind of gather them all in London than it is to get them to go to Milan.
So. And I feel like big loads of like all the cool kids that are his fans. Maybe there's more in London than
for sure.
Milan, I would imagine.
I wish you could see like the audience,
the hype
and
outside.
See who was there. Actually, yeah. Because that's what I've always loved about going to Jeremy's shows. That it's like there's obviously the industry and the fashion, but there's always like cool kids and like,
club kids.
Yeah, there's like always a really
I love
good
designers
energy.
that really, really want to invite their fans into the audience and into the show, and like everyone's dressed up in that brand and they're so excited about it. And I think it just gives it a better energy, and I love that sense of community like within a brand as well.
I think London as a fashion capital, well, I really feel at the moment that it's being taken a lot more seriously than it has been for a while. And I think, you know, the fact that they decided to show Moschino here, the fact that, you know, there's the Margiela show tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah, the fact that Gareth Pugh's coming back to London, I think it's really, really exciting right now. And I feel really happy that Moschino is showing here, and I hope they continue to do so.
Me too.
I was just thinking what you were saying about how it's going to be viewed, and like, I think you're right. A lot of people will see, I don't know if they'll be watching the live stream, but they'll see it through Instagram, and that was something they did really well, like last season.
Yeah.
It was.
Do you think Instagram's a real integral tool now for showcasing collections?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think for showcasing
Everything,
everything.
yeah, I think so too.
It is kind of, that's where fashion's happening.
Yeah.
That's why everything has to have that visual.
Well, because fashion, I mean, it's such a visual industry, so I think that was the first digital tool that it really everyone it made sense to everyone. It made sense to me. Like Twitter, I was always like, oh.
Well, it's a real, it's quite it's a nice non-committal space. Because if you think about it in terms of relationships, your Facebook's obviously a long-term relationship. Your Twitter is kind of, you know, a couple of dates, but your Instagram is your one-night stand. You know, it's like just bash out a picture and all of your fans are going to just like it, and then but very quickly get over it and move on. And I think there's something quite disposable about Instagram,
I think it's
which
really
I think is quite good for that.
Committal in like a different way.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily in a friendship way, but like you have to maintain a certain level of like what your Instagram pictures look like and activity and like going to places.
Well, you as the Instagrammer,
well.
but the followers kind of
I'm always very confused by that, by how real or not, whether I should be having a fashion gram or a real life gram. And then sometimes I'm really happy with it. I'm like, oh my God, it looks great. And then other times I'm like, oh well, yeah, that's actually my life. And you know, and yeah.
But that's you, Daryoush. It's your own, it's your own curation, isn't it?
Yeah. But I just don't know whether I should be, you know, playing up a bit? You know, it's a question. Surely that's a question we all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I had a bit of a Instagram existentialist crisis at one point.
What was it?
I really
I think
did.
everyone has.
Yeah. Well, about that, because I'm like, is my Instagram the brand? Is it me?
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
am I? Yeah. And I think Moschino really, their Instagram is so strong. It's like has such a strong identity. And actually that's how I connected with the brand last season.
And you were just showing me before, like the really cool gifts that they made just for Instagram of like the Fruit Loop cereal bowl heads, and it was all flashing.
Yeah, because I had this, I was trying to remember it, so we were like rapidly trying to find it, and they posted so much stuff. I finally found it. They'd made these gifts that were specially, so they're obviously creating content especially for Instagram, so they're very savvy to that.
Absolutely.
It's not just like,
Loads of brands are doing that now. They'd hire like shooting, advertising teams just to shoot purely for Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot of brands do.
Photographers, yeah.
absolutely. You know, like digital fairy as well. That
You
just
mean to curate, or they actually make a one-time campaign for Instagram?
Yeah,
Both.
yeah.
Because I knew they'd obviously have professionals curating it, but I didn't realise they were making
Instagram-specific campaigns.
Oh wow, yeah, great, interesting.
Because the campaign that they did was very different to what they did on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was quite shocked by the campaign.
Yeah.
Because it was very sober.
Yeah. But I liked it a lot, actually.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought what was nice was that it took it away from being this novelty thing and actually repositioned it as luxury.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about context, isn't it? It's the context of the collection in that poppy kind of way was seen online and kind of shared in that way. But actually those printed ads, those Mizell campaign shoots, are going to be seen in Vogue, you know, and I guess, you know, that's what Jeremy's really clever at, is understanding that actually these different eyes are going to be on this, and they're not really going to kind of get or want to get what I've just presented on here. I'm going to repackage it and present it, and that's what I thought was so clever.
But I think also, as soon as, like, you know, a lot of fashion editors and stuff would see that and they're like, oh, it's Mizell, and actually it kind of works in a really chic context.
Yeah.
I think it would change other people's perception of what he does as well, and they would just think slightly differently about the clothes and how they work.
I think it's really clever.
Well, there's also a huge audience that consume fashion by the ad, you know, and that's what they see, and the rest is kind of white noise that they maybe read about. They see a party somewhere and they see that a load of cool, but really they're not that aware, and then they see the ad and they're like, oh, that's that. I want a piece of that.
I wouldn't have mind to see like a nice novelty little Barbie themed ad though as well.
Maybe
Bit of
two.
both.
Yeah. I have to say that even though I think they did really well and it was so powerful and so, I can't think what the word is, it was just everywhere. I actually felt it was a little too much. At one point I was bored of seeing that imagery. It was on every feed because everyone was resharing it. Maybe it's just who's in my network, but I was actually like, oh.
Well, that's the thing, your phone is just an echo chamber, isn't it? Because you're just following people with your same tastes most of the time, so you're just like, just reminding yourself kind of what you're into, which is helpful, but also can kind of blow your mind a bit.
Yeah. So even when I saw that campaign, I felt refreshed again because I was like seeing it in a different way.
Yeah.
I was
That's
like,
true.
You see, I feel like such an outsider here because I'm not actually on Instagram.
Neither am I.
Really?
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
I thought you guys keep me a bit quiet.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
I don't really know it. I don't
It's
really
probably
get
better.
it.
Very
So, yeah.
addictive.
It's really too addictive, but it's useful for research and finding out keeping up to date with what's going on.
It's very good. I find it really good because you find out who's doing what in a quite simplistic way.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you see somebody's hanging out with somebody and then you're like, well, who are they or what do they do? And it can get you to quite amazing places.
It's quite frightening though, because I went out for dinner the other day and we saw a table of people on the other side, and a friend of mine was like, oh, he's really cute, and whatever, we didn't think about it, and got home, and then she sent us a picture of a selfie that they had all taken of themselves, like what during the dinner or whatever, because they'd obviously tagged the restaurant. So it was like looking at the picture, and we were a bit like, oh, where the hell did you find this from? She's like, oh, we just look, you know, I just searched the tag of the restaurant, and there they are.
Yeah.
And there was something about that you just thought, hang on a minute, you know, has anyone else done that on the picture that she took and uploaded? And actually, where is this image of us, you know, with noodles all over our face being shared? Like, it's kind of that makes it quite creepy. But you know, obviously for research,
As a fashion tool,
for sure. But for me, as a writer, it's quite, Instagram can get quite depressing because you're looking at really beautiful, incredible imagery that is just digested super quick, or has the most inane comments underneath. You know, like your incredible hand-painted jeans. You know, then someone will go, I don't know, they'll just talk about something random. And I know those are the people that are obviously not great Instagram users, but that's kind of really frustrating because you just get all of that noise. Find it quite noisy. Do you know what I mean? Like all the comments, you must get so many random comments though from people. It's just like, it's just draining my battery. It's that sort of stuff that annoys. If it was more succinct and a bit cleaner,
it's not for
I'd be
not
into
for,
it.
like, intelligent
No, it's
commentary and
no.
no.
Which is fine. You know, I'm not being a snob about it, but I just think it's just really, it gets on my nerves when there's just random people kind of saying
It
really
gets quite terrifying
obscure
as well.
things.
If you're going to get into trolling and stuff, it's like I've seen some just disgusting stuff in there. It's like
Yeah. Really quite problematic things.
So I'll tell you a secret.
What?
So I was on Instagram.
We're on camera, remember?
Yeah, I know. But
And on the edge of our seats.
Like, I'm aware enough of how the universe works to know that. Anyway, whatever. Right. So I was. I don't know if I want to say it now.
Oh, come on.
Well, so on Christmas Eve, right, I'm on Instagram and I see that Tim Blank's on Instagram, so obviously I follow Tim Blanks. And then he followed me and I'm like, oh, cool. And then I'm putting all these pictures up because I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, wow, Tim Blank's following me on Instagram. That's amazing. And then, he's probably not going to follow me now. And then I just was like putting pictures of my mum and like people being drunk at Christmas. And then I'm like, oh no, Tim Plank doesn't want to see this. He's going to unfollow me. There you go.
No, but Christmas is a really interesting time on Instagram because you see people kind of like lose their cool a bit. I really enjoy it actually. I like to watch it.
I was like, because then I had
Not saying
anxiety.
that you're not cool.
I had anxiety of like, oh no, my Instagram's not cool enough for the fashion world.
I also feel conscious because I know like certain followers that maybe are like clients or people that I would want to impress. I'm like, oh, should I put this on Instagram? Is that appropriate? But at the same time, it's a forum for you and for your life. So you are a real person and you do have a real life.
And I think that's what people
work.
want. They want that authenticity. Whether you are an individual or you are a brand, they want to feel like it's real
and involved in it.
And I think when people buy into anything now, be it a person, like stylist or photographer or a brand, they actually want all of that. Like they want everything, warts and all. I think, you know, that's sometimes what I feel a little bit about like Instagram's like it gets too much. I don't know if I want.
Is the warts and all kind of killing fashion a bit for us, or do we think it's amazing?
Well, there's this.
And how much more can we go with the truth?
Are you aware of the sad boy meme? This kind of sad boy trend, right? So there's a sad boy. So Young Lean is a sad boy, right? And his actual team are called sad boys. But then there's been all this writing in the US about sad boys and kind of the idea of emotion. So the idea, like, so basically emotion is trending, right? Well, for like, you know, boys into hip hop, emotion is like a radical thing, right?
But Drake, you know, like took it mainstream.
Well, exactly. There you go, take it mainstream. And so what these fashion writers have been saying, what a couple of fashion writers for Four Pins have been saying, is that basically the coolest thing you can do is show your warts. So it's like, it's that, you know, that you're basically creating an even closer bond with your audience because you're going, this is, you know, the real me.
It's like, which is the absolute opposite of what fashion is. Like usually like, it's aspirational, like
fantasy.
Yeah, untouchable. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a balance. I think you've still got to be in control of it.
Yeah, I don't know whether a lot of us probably looked at fashion that was the more of the aspirational kind, where you were like, God, I had no idea how that shoot was created, I had no idea who did the nails, I had no idea how long it took to stick all those sequins on, whatever. But now you can find out in a second, so it's kind of, again, you know, that's slightly old-fashioned of me to think like, well, that's my relationship to fashion.
I miss that. I
but
like
there's an audience,
fashion.
I guess, that don't care. They're so used to knowing all of that stuff, so that I'm just wondering what they're gonna.
I miss the mystique of fashion.
I do as well.
Yeah, there's no like mystique, really.
And back to Instagram, I guess I feel with it that we're already so bombarded with information and images just in our day-to-day lives that I think, do I really need another medium to just consume?
You're right, but it's like going to the shows. You know, you go to the show, you go, okay, I want to kill myself. Why am I working in this industry? And then you go, oh my God, like, you know, the fifth show of the day, you go, this is why I do it. This is incredible. This is amazing. And it's the same on Instagram, you know. you might be going and you're going, okay, my life is not as good as theirs. I wish I had their job. You know, like, oh, they're not as old as me, whatever. And then you see something and you're like, wow, this person is so cool, or this person's books, or this person's fashion, or this person's the way they can make going down the shops look like the coolest thing in the world.
But
and then you're just, it's always that.
But I think the irony is that always not the reason I'm not into Instagram is it makes people think about themselves too much. So everything you're saying, you're relating it to you, obviously. Like if then someone says something's expensive, it's because you're relating it to your bank balance. So in the same way you're like, they look cool going to the shop, i.e. I don't look as cool. I think that's really fucked up. To just think about yourself much.
I mean, if you look at selfie culture and how,
Oh my
it's
God.
just been the year of like, everyone is just
The selfie
looking
stick,
at
I think, was
themselves.
the biggest selling Christmas present, which is so depressing.
It's surely a joke.
No, I don't think so. I was
saw
in Paris
somebody
and everyone was
yesterday
just like...
at the
I've
shows
seen them so
walking
many.
down the street like this, just on the street.
You know, Matthew.
Yeah, no, because I was going to talk about Matthew's, because Matthew got A$AP Rocky
Stone.
to use his
Yeah.
selfie stick.
Yeah.
So there you go. A$AP Rocky can use a
He
selfie
can make
stick.
it look cool.
Yeah.
But do you
They're
talk
quite
about
practical.
Instagram a lot on these panels? Because I feel like it's a conversation
Always.
that I'm having all the time.
Yeah.
But it's just eyes, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, there's some people on there that I've been introduced to, and if fashion is a language, because I'm really excited about the fact that the language of fashion no longer has to be something you buy in a shop. It can be something you can just curate digitally. And if fashion's a language, and then you're getting to talk to all these people through the language of fashion, which, you know, without, maybe you're never going to meet them.
Well, and it's great because it is global. It's a visual language, so you can communicate with people all around the world.
Yeah.
And I love watching trends come in, and I love and I love seeing different kids, you know, a sort of, there's kids, you know, picking up, and you'll see somebody like copying something, and it's great.
Yeah, I love
Do
it.
we think
But
this is Instagram friendly, this collection?
Thank you for bringing us back.
Yes, less so than past season, I'd say. Yeah.
I
There's
mean,
not as much shock factor as
What's interesting about it is that
last
in a catwalk report, where you get those kind of inch thumbnails, although I'm not a huge fan of the previous collections that Jeremy's done, that stuff jumps out at you. This would slightly take me a while for my eye to find it, and that is the sad case of brands, labels trying to sell more stuff.
Yeah.
So that I'm a bit kind of is quite sad, but I think it's still
metallics
strong.
were quite strong.
Yeah,
in
that's
this.
Yeah, can we see the sci-fi floors again? I really like.
Yeah,
Moschino
I
A.
really
Yeah.
like the print as well. And-
That's what I would post.
yeah.
Yeah, me
Because that's the
too.
thing about I find that posting really graphic stuff obviously
Like this
translates
one?
much better. Yeah.
Number 10 as well.
But I think that
yeah.
I wonder if people are going to start designing in that way. I remember
They
Kanye
do.
West saying that he does his stage show. He thinks about how it's going to look on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I wonder if
I spoke to Lucas Ossendriver and he said we basically we look at every look through the
Yeah,
camera
to
on a
see-
screen.
see how it looks
and if
and
it
what it
doesn't,
looks.
sometimes it might look great in person, but if it doesn't communicate through a screen, then
Yeah.
it's changed.
I think that's so sad.
That's really
That's
it's
crazy.
interesting.
It's
very
really
sad.
sad.
I'm such a cyborg.
Well,
But
and
like that.
the designer who does design for real life will inevitably become sought after because there won't be clothes that just only look good in real life. So the person wearing that will look unique.
And maybe they find different ways to show. Or
Yeah.
have different relationships with them.
I mean, I just have this really uncomfortable thing with Instagram, and I like you were saying, you know, you can find trends and you can see kids picking up on trends. Whatever happens to seeing that on the street? It's like, you know,
We
I want
had
to
that
see it
the
in
other
real
day.
life.
No, but that is a problem. Yeah. That,
You
yeah.
know, I really feel like everything is just becoming this online thing. It's like, just go out and live and do it on the street and be that person. Stop doing it in your bedroom and Instagramming. It's like,
I know what you mean, but it's amazing because trends that maybe only have 4 followers in Dalston might have 400 around the world, and it's really cool. Like, that's what I like about it, you know, that you've got these little flash fire trends that, you know, and some of them start off as images. They don't actually start off as fashion, and then people decide to dress like the images.
Well, you're looking at more streets, aren't you? I guess that's the change that in your head
Yeah.
that we have
But
to
you're
make,
right.
is that you're not just inspired by your street and your physical friends. You're now inspired by streets in
Globally.
Tokyo or wherever.
Yeah.
That's kind of incredible.
Exciting that we're all existing in this virtual space, but you're right, I do miss that real interaction with things and learning about things in a real way.
is valid.
Going to a club, a shop, a store, and like having that. We were saying, like, when I was asking if this was live streamed in the store, and it's not, but I think that's good as well, creating a real space where that could happen.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, physical interaction is just it makes us all alive, doesn't it? I mean, it's like I mean, that is what you. I mean, I guess it's quite funny coming from you, Richard, because your club in a way got famous because of the images, but the reason why we all wanted to go was to physically
and
interact with
experience it.
people.
And it was before a time where people weren't dressing. Well, I don't know, they weren't going there to get photographed, but then it
No.
became. But it
Yeah.
almost became. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was writing about this the other day actually about a club called Endless, which I just absolutely love, and it's this guy called Felix Lee who runs it, and he has I first got to know him through Instagram actually. A friend showed me, and I was saying that like I wrote about your club years ago for Tokyo magazine, and said people were dressing up to create the MySpace pictures, and with now it seems like. It's almost like people.
I disagree with that, but continue.
And now it seems like people want to be in spaces that look good on Instagram. People like want to be shot in front of like whether that with Endless it's all they're generally in quite rundown spaces, but you see people wanting to have their picture taken in front of modern architecture or certain bits of design, and it's very interesting. They're seeking out those spaces for the images in a way that I'm not sure that there wasn't as much call for, because now we need to produce images constantly.
Do you
So
remember
go on,
when
why do you
that?
disagree?
Oh no, because people would dress up so they could get in. They wouldn't dress up just so they could get a MySpace picture.
That was before MySpace as well, I swear, some of it, no?
Yeah, it's MySpace sort of happened in between. But going back to what you were saying, sometimes it can have a reverse effect seeking out those places. Do you remember that guy, Paleo?
Yeah.
Do you remember when he did the shoot in Auschwitz?
It was
Berlin War
Jewish
Memorial.
museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ouch.
Oh God, he got so much abuse, quite rightly.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb.
Oh,
With
Yeah,
a pink
really
Celine
dumb.
handbag.
Huh?
It's a fluoro Celine handbag he had as well.
damn.
Fool.
But so the thing we like this. Why do we like this show? Like, why do we like the collection?
I like that detail there.
Yeah, where
on
did
the
that
back.
doesn't
Yeah,
you wouldn't imagine that was there, this
That's
Ribena.
an audience member.
Okay, that's from last
Oh.
season. Yeah, jacket. Okay, that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
I was saying I'd really like to see the front row, and we talked about a little bit about celebrities, but I wonder like who would wear this, who we can see on it.
All his girls will wear it.
Well, it's meant to be men's.
Yeah. Well, there's like women's in there too.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Not the men's actually. Like,
Who's
what
the guy
what
fan?
What celebrity are wearing men's Moschino? I haven't seen too much of it. I've seen the women's wear obviously on everyone, but I actually
Well,
haven't
this
seen
week, Wiz
too many
Khalifa's been at all the
celebrities.
shows, and I'm sure he's at this one. And I can see
Yes.
him. I can see him a lot. in
Yeah.
the
Oh,
race.
who put him? He was on Instagram, wasn't he? Last night.
Yeah.
We need to talk about why we like the collection. So, because I think we need to wrap up. So, Richard, do you want to start the closing?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's really accomplished, and I think it will silence a lot of critics that have said that his last collection was really novelty and it wasn't a serious proposition, and a lot of people suggested that he'd bastardized the brand of Moschino, which I think was really unfair. And I think this is a really strong collection that will do well commercially and editorially, and yeah, I think it's really strong.
Cool. What about the actual clothes?
Yeah, I don't feel as strongly as Anna does about it feeling sort of cohesive. I think there's a lot going on in this show, but then I think that's a really good thing because I think there's something for everyone. You know, I personally love the fur pieces.
There's a lot of coats, but I'm sure that there's a lot of other pieces that were in the collection that maybe aren't on the catwalk as well.
What is it,
that are
like
gonna
fun looks?
Be more
I guess so.
I don't think it is that fun. I think if you take these pieces out of this
The
context
context of the show, yeah.
I think you're going to get some really wearable, sellable pieces.
I don't know how luxe it is. Doesn't feel luxe to me at all. I think
I
you just
think
say that because it's a luxury brand.
Well, there's
Because
fur
it's
It looks
fur
really
and stuff.
expensive.
Exactly.
Well,
and metallic.
but is that that's not luxury to me now? That's kind of the opposite of luxury. That was luxury in the 90s.
Yeah, no, I agree. Luxury
Luxury
now
now
is
is
about
like
you know, new technical fabrics
purity,
and cut
simplicity.
and, yeah.
No,
Fits.
luxury is different for each person, I think.
Yeah, but I
That's
think when
the
people
whole idea
use
of
it
luxury.
broadly, when they say luxury, and you talk about it in a fashion context, most people see it in that. I guess it's been renewed somewhat.
Well, I think when I say luxury, I mean as a category. It's not high street, and
Yeah.
it's
It's
not.
expensive.
Yeah,
It's
above a certain
expensive.
price point.
it's a luxury price point.
Yeah.
I know, I'm not sure exactly, but I know they're doing something. They're restructuring the brand because there was always this cheap and chic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and I know they're
That hasn't
bringing
been
that
going.
back, but I don't know what. I don't want to say because I don't know exactly. But I'd be interested to see how they
Yeah.
Yeah.
restructure the.
Oh, it'd
brand.
be interesting if that becomes, you know, the pop. side
Yeah,
of
whether it's
it
the
as
pop
well.
or whether it's the classics.
I think that would be a really nice thing to happen if this becomes like super luxury,
Yeah.
and then cheap and chic comes back and
Won't it be exciting for there to be a really balls on like diffusion label?
yeah.
Because there's you know, everybody's sort of closing them down or you know, winding them down, and you know, Mark's pretty good, I guess. Anna, tell us why you like the, I mean, well, you're not going to tell us why you hate it because you don't. So then tell us why you like it.
I love Jeremy, and I think he's super talented. I think he's really a refreshing designer. Like sometimes I just see like grey, like so much grey and beige, and to me, like I get why other people like it, but to me it's not really aspirational. But Jeremy is just like fun, and like I want to wear those clothes, and I'll feel good in it, and I like have a good day, and like have a laugh in it. You know, I don't want to feel too serious. So for me, that's why I'm a huge fan of Jeremy. And also I think the styling is always really great for him as well, and the casting and the set. Like he's created like a world and a story, and it's just something that a lot of people don't really take the time to do anymore.
Dal?
I really like all the patchwork and all the was at the beginning, and also this coat here, and all the colours. And I think it's really refreshing to see Jeremy kind of put the pop stuff that everyone kind of saw and that built the big explosion on pause for a bit. And hopefully with what you're saying about potentially there being cheap chic come back, that's where that could be funneled. But I actually really liked it.
There's a lot of patching going on, isn't there?
And there is.
Yeah.
And I also really I think technically these fabrics will be really interesting up close. You know, some of the metallics are some things that look a bit like plastic as well, and they're kind of see-through with all the florals on.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That
looks
look
really
52 is
interesting.
amazing.
Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
I think it looks really good.
Carrie?
I think it's really strong. I think I love the past seasons, but it was such a Jeremy's identity, and I feel like his identity is still present here, but that I feel like he's really pushed himself, and to think about what Moschino. Like I said, I think it's a really good development. He's got the attention, and now he's like really thinking how to evolve it as a brand rather than his own personal identity.
And his design skills as well. It seems like he's really pushing
Yeah,
like
there's
a stronger
for sure.
design and aesthetic, yeah.
All right, well, thank you very, very much.
What do you
panel.
think?
Yeah, you didn't tell us what you
Come on, Daryoush.
What?
Spill.
What? Oh, you're gonna make me sweat. I mean, it's just interesting, isn't it? I think that this is obviously stage 2 of the plan. The stage 1 was like tell the world, you know, that this is happening.
Yeah.
Apply the Jeremy Scott magic. Let everybody know. And this is stage 2, perhaps. I mean, I bet the other 2 sold a lot, but this is a bit less novelty and a bit more kind of, you know, clothes for just a bit less novelty, basically, is how I see it. And so it's going to appeal to a lot more people. And just have more depth to what they can buy. I think
Yeah.
that's probably how I see it. Thank you.
Really strong future for.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, guys. We're
Thank you.
in the beige free panel. Thanks.